about it. And I think that's something that PlayStation did really well through the entire conference. But yeah, that opener was just, it was a beautiful moment, like the perfect game, the perfect way to open it. And, you could hear like through the whole conference, people were just losing their shit, which was fantastic. But yeah, that game really looks incredible. And I thought I was done. We're going to say this so many times about so many games, but I thought I was done with God of War. And then they showed this. And
right.
it brought me back in. There's another game that the same thing happened, and we'll discuss that. But yeah, it really brought me back in, and I was really surprised at my reaction to it. But yeah, a beautiful way to open.
For me, God of War, like I played the 4 console, the non-PSP games, 1, 2, 3, and Ascension, I believe is what that was called, which was a prequel to the God of War trilogy. And so, I mean, I'm a pretty big fan of the franchise and was kind of chomping at the bit, like even from rumors that God of War was going to be returning, even more so that they were going to change the aesthetics to, they were going to leave the kind of Greek-Roman mythos and head toward like Norse mythology. Like I thought that was a really cool idea. But the thing that shocked me was the gameplay change.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what's so interesting when you do dare to, or risk to change your gameplay fundamentals. Like that's tricky because it is no longer the series that millions of people played. Like this is something different. This is it reminds me more of like Uncharted in a way, in terms of camera placement and how you move. Like it seems to be completely just over the shoulder fixed camera. But it was still, the character was still there, Kratos, who is the main character of this one. This is not God of War 4. This is God of War. And Kratos is still the main character. We don't know much about the story other than that. So his son, anyone who watched the trailer and was like, oh no, they're going to have his son, be the main character. That's not true. It has been clarified that Kratos is still the star. But that character alone sucks you in. And maybe that's like a concern to take a half step back to Resident Evil real quick, where Resident Evil that's a big character focused franchise, more than anything. So as long as the characters are there, and I think, once we see a little bit more of RE7, maybe some people's, fears will disappear a bit. Because for God of War, for me, it doesn't matter how much they changed. Like it still felt like God of War. It still looked like God of War, even if it's not some big like hack and slash, brawler anymore, or seemingly. Maybe there will be like sequences of that in the game. But I was very impressed. Visually, it just looks phenomenal. Gameplay looks good. Everything moved very smoothly, seamlessly. Very impressed. They opened before they even showed God of War any gameplay, and what we saw was a live demo. They opened up with a full orchestra that played like 5 minutes of God of War music, leading into the re-reveal or reintroduction of God of War as a series.
Man, I hope Sony sticks with that. They need to keep the orchestra for every conference. That was really, really cool.
Do either of you guys remember Nintendo's press conference from 2011, the Skyward Sword 25th anniversary of Zelda year?
I remember missing the symphony that they had that went along with it.
Yeah,
that's what I remember.
And that was like the introduction of the Symphony of the Goddesses tour.
Mm-hmm.
And like the God of War intro reminded me of that. And I always like that for Zelda. I like when game companies and developers, when they can, take a second to really respect the characters and the franchises that they work on and, so many people play. And, give it a little bit of reverence. Like God of War has been around for a long time now. And it's easy to dismiss some of the stuff as, it's just games, it's just entertainment. But, sometimes, this stuff means a lot to people. And I don't think that should ever be, what's the word I'm looking for? Not misunderstood, or it shouldn't be disrespected or ignored.
Taken lightly.
Taken lightly. Thank you. So what was the other game, Derek?
Well, just real quick, I was going to say last piece on God of War.
Mm-hmm.
I think, just kind of recalling everything that happened and thinking about what got me excited for it. It's funny because I've always liked the God of War series, but I never cared about Kratos.
Mm-hmm.
And this little bit got me more interested in Kratos' story and his character than any of the other games have done before.
That's interesting.
And it's everybody's got their own personal taste and preference on characters and story and all that kind of thing. But yeah, like I was finally interested in Kratos. It just, I guess maybe just adding his son in and just the little bit of touches that they did. I just really enjoy having a character with emotional depth. And to this point, my memories of Kratos have been him just ripping off Monster's head and then him banging the girl in his room to get whatever the points. I don't remember. I just remember the little bed scene where you could get energy or points or whatever.
Yeah, keep tapping the buttons.
Yep. Yeah, that was basically my picture of Kratos up to this point.
See,
so I really love what they've done.
See, and that's kind of sad because, like God of War 1, I always thought had a pretty interesting story and an interesting setup. Kratos is, basically in the service of the God of War, Ares, and has to do his bidding, and then he, ends up killing his family and then decides he has to hunt down the God of War. And so it's a revenge story. And of course, of over 3 iterations that revenge story is basically a serial killer.
Well, the overall story, the overall narrative for God of War, like you just said, like it is really cool. I love the idea, but I guess they just never, for me, they didn't do a great job of connecting me to Kratos, as a person, I guess. I never felt that connection with him. Sure, it's like, yeah, you killed your family. Okay, I feel for you. But they never, I don't know. Maybe we're just at the point now with technology where we're able to really show more subtle emotion, and the little movements, the little things, the touches, the look in the eye. Like we're able to do that now. So I guess maybe we're just, we were hindered by the I guess lack of technology when the game first came out. Maybe that's all it was, and we're just able to do more.
That's a really interesting point.
But I really love what they're doing. So I'm totally on board for another one.
So speaking of character connections, I think The Last Guardian has that in spades, right?
Yep.
Now I don't have much of a I really don't have any connection to Team Eco. Eco, right? Not Ico? Eco?
Yeah, Eco.
I never played Eco. I played just a little bit of Shadow of the Colossus.
Mm-hmm.
Enough to get a taste. So, I mean, I understand that game even if I didn't finish it. But this is very interesting. And this is also a long time coming. Like, I don't even know how long ago it's been since Sony first announced The Last Guardian for PlayStation 3.
I think I texted you when we saw the date. Like I actually got a little bit emotional when we saw that October date. It's like, it's finally real. Like it's been real. They've confirmed it and everything. But like, when you get that date, that changes everything.
I mean, you make 8-9 years, however long it's been, of speculation and waiting and promises and hopes and dreams and all that. You make it real. And that's why sometimes I have a problem with Sony and how they the types of games that they show in their press conferences year to year, because Sony likes to show these amazing looking titles, and they end up being, for the most part, very strong games, but it seems like they never date things And even like tonight, the only the only like AAA title from Sony this year is The Last Guardian. If that's even a AAA title, like we don't know too much about it, to be honest.
Right.
And they show these great things. They show God of War, they show Days Gone, they show Detroit and Horizon, but it's all either next year or there is no date. So we don't really know when it's coming. It makes for a good visual presentation because we see some amazing things, but these aren't necessarily games you're going to be playing anytime soon. And we don't even know what kind of hardware they're running on.
Right.
As the console market.
I think that's what you were talking about the entire time the conference was running. Like,
yeah.
Oh, this is not running on PS4.
No, I mean, call me a skeptic for sure. But when you tell me, so all right, so let's sidestep to Neo, PlayStation 4 Neo, which is a new console, a half step of the PlayStation 4. It comes out, presumably, it's rumored to come out later this year before the holidays, and it has about twice the power based on Giant Bomb's leaked specs, twice the power and performance of the PlayStation 4. And we know that there is a mandate for developers in mid-September where once in order to not make games, guaranteed games, that supports both the base PlayStation 4, the one we have now, and the Neo, like it has to come out before September 16th or whatever it is. Once you pass that line in September, like you have to have whatever they're called, not specs, but the not scalability, but you need to have like the settings, for lack of a better term, to support both of these console specs. And it is a new console. Like when you upgrade your GPU and you upclock your CPU, like we're dealing with a new console.
Yeah, absolutely. And so I guess one question for you then. Do you think any of the footage you saw on stage at the Sony display today was from a PS4 Neo, or do you think it's some power machine behind the stage?
I think almost everything we saw was running on either a PlayStation 4 Neo or a PC running PlayStation 4 Neo specs. I think the only game we saw that was running on PS3 or PS4 base hardware was The Last Guardian.
So you don't think we saw something with specs beyond that of a PS4 Neo?
Beyond that, maybe the third-party titles. They showed Call of Duty. They showed I thought it was a great demo of Call of Duty Infinite Warfare. Looked very impressive. And the whole time, just like with many of these games, I'm just thinking, this is not running on a PS4. To me, it like clearly feels like it's running on some amazing PC. So I don't know. Maybe not. They didn't, as far as I remember, they didn't have any intros in their videos that said, the following was captured on PS4, which is what they did with Uncharted, right? With Uncharted 4 last E3.
Yeah, I'll be curious to see if they kind of come out with that and confirm what they were running on. They do occasionally. And wait, didn't Kojima say that his project was running on PS4?
Well, maybe he did. Like, and if so, fantastic. I mean, like PlayStation 4 it's got some really good hardware. Like we have seen some very impressive titles made for that console. But I mean, I just know that as a developer and a platform holder, and you want to sell these games to as many people as you can, you want it to look and run like as good as it can. And so when we know that there are new consoles out there, developers have new consoles, and we know that third-party titles are being designed for top of the line consumer PC rigs, like Battlefield 1 that we saw at EA and Microsoft. Like that is a gorgeous game. And when you watch, the multiplayer showcase that they did after the EA conference, where they did like a live 64-player extravaganza with celebrities and with actors and rappers, and
I still need to go back and watch that after you were texting me about